Hello, welcome to my presentation on wearable computing and a discussion on whether the world is ready for this emerging technology market. Before we get into wearable computing specifically, let's take things back a bit in time to discuss wearables. A simple definition of wearables would be in its name, items that can be worn. These items have been created to specifically satisfy a need. If we were to take a second to ponder the idea that a watch came into existence, you'd have to imagine that at some point in the past, the need for a better way to tell time arose. Thus, the watch is born in order to satisfy a need. Now, while the watch, analog in nature, did not contain any digital computing devices as part of its makeup, one could play with some words to grandfather it in as the first wearable computing device of its time, as it was worn and computed time for the purposes of presenting it back to its owner. Over time, the needs of many change, and new devices came into existence, or at least were attempted to satisfy those needs. Perhaps people on the move who wanted to keep up on their shows could take it with them, maybe as it is depicted here, a little ahead of its time. The need to quickly compute math on the fly or store contact information at will gave birth to an early version of what we know today as a smartwatch. While it is questionable that handheld personal digital assistants could be considered a wearable, we must take into account those who were brave enough to wear it on their belt clips. We can start to imagine how these examples of yesterday lead to a real world full of solutions that exist today. The needs to know where we are, or where we want to go, what is our heart rate at rest or during activity, multifunction devices that sit on our wrists to provide many services, creating an ecosystem that envelops us, giving us instant access to services that meet many, if not all, of our existing needs. The smartwatch, smart ring, heart rate sensors, and even a better attempt at taking those shows on the run with smart glasses. How was this possible, and what does it actually take to make all of this work? While the devices depicted here play a role, it isn't the whole story. First and foremost, to create these wearable computing devices, a number of technologies had to evolve. Chipsets, the processors that compute and process data, had to evolve over time to get really small in order to fit within a package that sits on a person's wrist. In addition, think about how hot processors can get when using their computing power. Not a good look to be setting people on fire. So processors not only had to get small, but they needed to be efficient, and the work that would be required of them needed to be measured. Talking about power, we certainly can't carry car batteries around in order to power our smartwatches or smart rings. That would look awkward and be tiring. Battery technology had to evolve with new methods and packaging. It isn't until the 90s that lithium battery technology is created, the very tech that is still used today to power smartwatches and smart rings. Of course, packaging plays a huge role in enabling the creation of wearables that really can be worn and still usable. Connectivity. The age of connecting everything from computers to stoves to washing machines and everything in between. Connection protocols have matured, and the advent of personal area networks that allow multiple connection protocols to be used, helping facilitate the movement of data from wearable computing devices in order to generate information and present it back to the user. The very process that satisfies the user's needs. Part of the reasons wearables are efficient at computing power is because their computational power is limited to a subset of computation. That is to say, they don't generate information all on their own. They collect data and send it home, where the data is processed and turned into information using software. That very software runs on computational devices known as servers that handle all of the heavy lifting and send the finished product back to the user. The wearables, the connectivity, and the servers all work together to create this information system ecosystem that power this market. Without one of either of these, it would render the ecosystem broken and about as usable as the first watch that just told time. So, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are some problems. Recent pandemics and government instabilities have yielded financial market instabilities and resource shortages. Shortages in chipset production, shortages in lithium to manufacture battery components, shortages in workers to work at the manufacturing plants, and consumers who are left struggling to deal with spending in key areas considered more critical than spending in areas like wearable computing devices, which could be considered luxury and optional assets. Also, one of the largest challenges, in my opinion, is that of data security and the uncertainty it causes within consumers and businesses, slowing adoption. Much work is needed in consumer education and the maturity of data security practices in order to help overcome this challenge. So, what next? While some financial market research firms see this wearable computing market as one that will grow exponentially over the next 10 years, I see and have discussed some real challenges that need addressing that I believe will not only delay both the progress in solution device development, but solution adoption itself. Thank you very much.